like a drum roll.
Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, we need a megaphone. That echo microphone.
Yeah. Just have the siren into the microphone. That's funny. All right, welcome back to the EF5 podcast, the crossroads between logistics and life. And today what we've got planned is we're going to go over some key driving principles that Elite was really worked on and founded upon. We may not have known it at the time when we first kind of got things moving, but now it's definitely, it's in our headlights. It's what we drive to. It's what we strive for. And those are three different things. And I'll let you take it away.
Sometimes you find things you ain't looking for.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what pretty much came out of this, is trying to figure out what's good, what's bad.
Yep.
And then what does that look like? What's that called? What does this mean when this good stuff happens? What does this bad stuff happens? And what does that mean? And then you want more of the good, obviously, and less of the bad. So through that evolution of 20 plus years of doing it, kind of arrived at a place that could kind of communicate easily with everybody.
Yep.
To say, hey, this is that, this isn't that. So quit doing this. Let's start doing this, more of this.
Right.
And look at you look at your successes and you look at your failures. So you kind of pull those out and narrowing it down to keep it simple.
Right.
What do they say? Keep it simple, stupid kind of concept.
Yeah.
So walking it out from that perspective and going, okay, well, what does that look like? And they come down to three things that are naturally kind of in all of our lives, really.
Right.
And hope and goal is to try to make it easy.
Right.
And make it simple and make it what we do all day long.
Yep.
So it kind of basically brought it forward to be relationships is extremely key. And I think that's universal. And whether you're at work, whether you're at home, whatever that looks like.
Yeah, that's not even a business-specific thing. That's just like society, people. You need people.
Exactly.
You need people to be a person.
You see the craziness in our world in different capacities. That
Right.
if they just had a little bit of intent to have a relationship with each other, they probably understand each other more than they feel like they're different.
Yep.
So that was huge. So number one was relationships. Number two is value. Is you want to offer something.
Right.
So what's that value exchange that's happening during the transaction?
Right.
And even if it's just us hanging out, we're having a good time. We're being joyful. We're cutting up. We're talking about baseball. Whatever it might look like, there's a value exchange kind of in that flow.
Yeah, the value isn't so much like a currency or a monetary value. Like it is purely like an investment you're making into the relationship that you have. Right. So.
And then number three would go back to educate. So whether we're learning something, for example, I learned something yesterday about fish and wildlife through one of our customers of a way that kind of looks for clearance and different things like that. So there's a lot of dynamics of how freight's cleared in the import-export side. So just you learn things along the way, whether that's you receiving or whether that's you giving out.
Yep.
Most of our customers don't have their own trucks, things of that nature. So, and some of them aren't even in the Atlanta market, or we go outside the Atlanta market. So we learn stuff along the way. So educate seemed to be a good key.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. And like you said, I think the educating thing too is cool because, we might explain things like, dynamics of the airlines or whatever the case may be, but we also have that relayed back to us in different ways. Like you said, the fish and wildlife clearance stuff. Like we have no prior knowledge of what any of that looks like because it's just not what our realm is in. So it's cool to have that pushback in that relationship that we've all put value into to see it all play out. They really run in circles around each other because they all revolve around the same thing with each other.
And through the entire process, as if it kind of helps center it down to these three components. If we're in connection of some type in these three components with the things we've talked about in the previous episodes, such as the core values and the culture we have, all the different things we have spoken about, it helps keep everything, like you mentioned, in center.
Yep.
So you kind of identify, okay, what does this look like out of these three areas? And we'll talk more shortly about those three.
Yep.
But those are the we can kind of reference them, like the foundational keys that we found.
Right.
Kind of that concept of it's going away now with all the self-driving cars, but
Right.
you got to have keys to your car to actually drive it, or you got to have keys to come in to the building. So those are the keys that kind of open the opportunities up for all parties.
Right. And before we kind of split off to talk about all three of them, because they will be separate videos, because we got to push out that content for everybody. We want to be able to dive into each relationship, educate, and value. We want to be able to dive into it and really flesh it out.
Well, the
what it
real
looks
facts
like.
are is most people listen for about 2.5 minutes and then they move on.
Yeah, and that's not even specific to videos.
It's not giving us enough credit here, according to YouTube, to allow us to move this around in certain ways and let other people see it.
Right.
That's the whole part of the reason why we're doing this, is to help educate, entertain.
Yep.
And those are some of the fundamentals that we actually brought over into the podcast as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And before we kind of split off, I did want to ask a question.
Here we go.
With
Is
those
it multiple choice?
No, it's not, unfortunately. It's just a short answer, potentially long answer. With relationship, educate, and value, what do you think was like? When did it stand out that was a direction that we wanted to drive to? Because I know, like we said at the beginning, when Elite started, it wasn't something that we thought of, right? Like, it wasn't the initial, we're thinking freight. We weren't thinking,
Probably about 6 or 7 years ago, it started to kind of pull itself forward as we, as Elite, so to speak, started recognizing what makes us different, what makes us achieve our vision each day.
Right.
And so as we dug in to invest in growing ourselves, to be stronger for our customers and for our employees and people we interact with, help define that, and it helped create parameters along the way for that. So
cool.
Probably about 5 to 6 years ago.
Cool. Well, it'll be less than 5 or 6 years before you get the next 3 videos to see. Yeah, you like that? That was a good one, wasn't
That's
it?
a good one. Good segue there, buddy.
So we're going to cut it off right here. Catch us on the next 3 episodes of both relationships, value, and educate.
Yes, sir.
That's it.
We out.
See you soon. We out.